Hello guys and welcome to the latest episode of Switch to Play podcast with me, Mikey, Tom and Josh.
Hello.
This week we're going to be covering some transfers and topics concerning managerial positions and also pre-season friendlies. Mikey, if you'd like to start us off with some transfers concerning English teams.
Yeah. Alright, so this week we have Schweinsteiger moving from Bayern Munich to Manchester United, Schneiderlin also moving to Manchester United from Southampton, and Darmian going to Manchester United from Torino. We have Wijnaldum going from PSV to Newcastle, Ogbonna from Juventus to West Ham, Alderweireld from Atletico Madrid to Spurs, Van Ginkel from Chelsea to Stoke, Johnson from Liverpool to Stoke, Given from Aston Villa to Stoke, Guy from Lille to Aston Villa, Kabay from PSG to Crystal Palace, Barami from Hamburg to Watford, Begovic from Stoke to Chelsea, Costa from Chievo to Bournemouth, Martina from Twente to Southampton, and Sterling from Liverpool to Man City.
Thanks, Mikey. Tom, what transfer in there would you like to speak about firstly?
Definitely Raheem Sterling to Manchester City.
Yeah.
The biggest scam that's ever been pulled off in the history of the world. 49 million for someone who didn't have the greatest season. I think he's still being, especially by Man City, he's still being kind of judged on the season before last. You know, it was a good season, and I think he's a fantastic young player, but I don't know, he's nowhere near anywhere near 49 million, and I think Liverpool and QPR as well will both profit from that hugely, and I'm just hoping that Brendan Rodgers and the board don't end up spending it all on, wasted transfers such as Benteke, who I don't think would be a brilliant fit in the team. But
yeah. I think Sterling moving to Man. I think Sterling moving to Man City is just for that much money is just ludicrous. Because last season he didn't really perform as well as Liverpool fans would have hoped, and watchers of the Premier League, because 2 seasons ago in their title push season he was one of their star players along with Suarez and Sturridge for parts. But I think Man City, they need another English player after Delph kind of rejected them. 49 million, I don't know if they're going to get their money's worth. I doubt they will, and I think they will just... We need to see if he proves himself there at Man City.
It's amazing how a year can change a player, really, because exactly a year ago Sterling was one of the most loved players in England due to the World Cup, as he was that young player, young hype, and he did very well in the tournament for England. But now, a year on, he's probably one of the most hated players in England, which is some achievement, I guess. But the transfer is a lot of money. It's an understatement, really. 49 million, and QPR getting 9 million. So, like Tom said, it will benefit both clubs. But it's all about how Liverpool and QPR, with that 9 million, how they spend the money on, because it's vital for them to replace Sterling as well as they can.
Yeah, I think Man City last year the defensive side of things just wasn't good, and I don't think they needed another attacking player, because they have Silva, Nasri, Navas, Jovetic, Aguero, etc.
But if Sterling is available, or they can get him, why not? Come on, he's 20, he's 21. He's got his best years ahead of him. He can easily be a world-class player. I know the fee is so much money, but I think Navas, he hasn't really cut it at the Premier League level. He's been pretty poor. Sterling can play on the right-hand side of midfield, can easily play as number 10, or even up front. So he's very versatile. So I think it's a good signing for Manchester City.
I think they could have got him for cheaper, but I think Liverpool wanted more money because they have to give a portion of the money to QPR.
Well, credit to Liverpool for holding out for 49 million. It takes a lot of balls from Ian Ayre to get that sort of money for Sterling, and yeah, he deserves credit, to be honest, to get in as much as possible for Raheem Sterling. But he's just turned into a bit of a little shit, hasn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised, because if you'd said last season, after a good season, he's going to go 50 million, you kind of been like, well, you know what, he's had a fantastic season, he might be worth that. But now, especially, he's had a lot of, the contract dispute, he's not exactly, the most loved player anymore, as Josh said, and he's had, like, the instance, like, just, like, multiple instances, and, like, he's been seen, like, taking, what did he take? Something.
Laughing gas.
Yeah.
Oh, nitrous oxide.
Legal highs.
Which, well, I think it was, like, just before, day before a game.
Friday night and on Saturday.
He's not professional, and yeah.
But he is still young, and he needs time to mature.
Yeah, he could still learn a lot at the City, but I think I'm just surprised we managed to hold out for that amount of money. And at the end of the day, I think it's a good sign. Well, the best possible thing that Liverpool could hope for in selling him, because I don't think he would have been performing if we had to keep him another season, because he still has he would have had 1 year left on his contract. He wouldn't have been the most popular player on a weekly basis, but yeah, I mean, world-class player, but I'm not even sure he's going to be getting, he's not much first-team football next season. It depends how City set themselves out, and if he doesn't get that football, which is the one thing he was getting at Liverpool, I don't know, I can't see him progressing as much as he was at Liverpool if he's not getting the playing time.
Let's move on, because we could talk about this for a long time.
Josh, what transfer would you like to speak about?
Well, I don't want to talk about one, I just want to talk about a club at the moment. I just want to talk about Manchester United.
Okay.
Because they have done some superb deals in the last 2 or 3 days. We're bringing Bastian Schweinsteiger from Bayern Munich and Schneiderlin from Southampton, which just completed today, and Damian from Torino. Tremendous signings, especially Schweinsteiger and Schneiderlin, because Schneiderlin was obviously linked with Arsenal, like basically last summer and this summer, but Louis van Gaal and Ed Woodward got their man, and it's just a tremendous backup, even if he doesn't play in the first team, because he was such a consistent performer for Southampton, and he was tremendous for Southampton. He's been there for 7 years, since he was 18. He's got 2 promotions with them, and he deserves his big move to a world-class club. Really, he's such a, I don't know. I think Manchester United are going to win the league. There, I said it.
You think they're going to?
Yeah, but just for strength and depth, midfield-wise, it's just ridiculous. I think if they do lack a striker, but I'm sure Van Gaal and Woodward will definitely be looking for a striker at this current moment, to be honest. And they do need a centre-half, but if they can get those 2 positions settled, I can just see them winning the league. It's just their team is unreal at the moment. Even if some people depart like maybe Di Maria, but still, they've still got enough talent in that squad. It's scary to think.
I think the one thing with like saying they've got a lot of depth, I don't know. I feel like they're spending a lot of money, and like in the space of a day, they've got Schweinsteiger and Schneiderlin joining the club for both pretty big fees. I mean, Schweinsteiger was 13 to 15 million, and I think 30 years old. He's not. I mean, he didn't have the fitness last season to play every game for Munich. So he's not going to be. He's a fantastic player, but he's not going to be able to play game in, game out, which could leave space for other players like Schneiderlin to play. But I think they've got a lot of players in the midfield that obviously make them so strong. But other than, you could say they've got Rooney, but Van Persie departed, after having a mediocre season. Falcao, they obviously didn't get him back. He's gone to Chelsea, so yeah, I agree with Josh that they definitely need that striker, someone to finish, because at the moment I think without someone in the attack who's going to be consistent all season, I don't think they can win the league.
But with the midfield, like when we're just talking about Schweinsteiger and Schneiderlin, but behind them they got, or not behind them, but we've still got Herrera and Carrick, Carrick was superb last season. They had a much better win percentage with Carrick in the team rather than without him. So it's just the depth in that central midfield positions, and even Rooney could drop in. So yeah, the centre of the park and players say and pundits say that the game is won in the midfield battle, and with those kind of players in the midfield, they'll be definitely winning that midfield battle about 8 out of 10 really. So it's scary. It's scary. I know I've said this before, but it is scary what they're doing. And they are spending a lot of money, but Darmian, Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger only cost them 52 million. Raheem Sterling 49 minutes, so it's only 3 million a bit.
Michael.
Yeah.
What transfer would you like to talk about before we move on to my one?
One that quite interested me was Alderweireld going to Spurs, because I think everyone was expecting him to go back to Southampton, and I think there was already an agreement in place that he would go back to Southampton if they could pay enough, and then Southampton came out and said that they were thinking about suing Atletico Madrid or something like that because he chose Spurs over them. But I just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, I think Alderweireld going to Spurs, it's a good signing for Spurs considering how well how tight Southampton defence was last season with him and Fonte playing. He's a fantastic defender. He knows what he's doing. He can also pass the ball a bit around, which what teams want these days in their centre backs. And I think the legal side of it, we can't really cover any of it. We don't have that much knowledge. No offence, guys. But I think Southampton don't have Alderweireld. I think they should just deal with it.
Oh, it doesn't. A couple of Belgian journalists have said that I don't think they're going to pursue any legal formalities now. They've just got to move on, really.
Alderweireld and Vertonghen, both part of the Belgium national team for quite some time now, and I think that'll be a big boost to Spurs, because obviously they've got those two that have played together before, and Belgium perhaps didn't do as well in some like the World Cup as they would have hoped, but they've obviously trained together and they know each other, so that's going to be a boost to them in the defence. And I think Tottenham need that kind of signing in the hope of competing for a top spot.
Yeah, I think Tottenham are going to finish where they have always finished. I think they're going to finish 6th this season, or 5th maybe. I think Liverpool are going to finish above them. On to my transfer. Yay! I think Ogbonna moving to West Ham is just, well, if you would like to speak about two, I'm going to throw in Ogbonna and Cabai. Firstly, Ogbonna to West Ham, that is a fantastic signing and I think it's going to give Slaven Bilic a better name now, and he's going to have a better relationship with the fans.
He's already loved by the fans because he played for them. Went back in his playing career.
Yeah, they like watching them in his playing career now, signing players like Ogbonna, Obiang, Zarate, Payet. Like signing them is just improving how much they like him, because Ogbonna is just he's a very physical player. He's strong, he's tall, can head the ball. He can also play up on it with his feet. He's a very good defender, and for I think, was it 10 million, something around the region of that. It's a very, very good deal. He's had a couple of unsure years at Juventus after signing from Torino, because he was always, you're not really going to get a game over Chiellini or Barzagli, so he's finally got away, and I think he'll get a lot more game time at West Ham, and he's going to show himself in the Premier League.
Well, West Ham, sorry to ban, but West Ham do certainly mean business this season. It could be the one to watch, to maybe challenge him the Europa League places, maybe top 8 or something. But no, it's great to see that David Gold is trusting Slaven Bilic with the money. They always said they were going to spend big this summer due to the expansion in the Olympic Stadium for next season. So it's mean business, and with their early summer signings, doesn't look like they might still be one or two big signings coming in. Maybe Alex Song, who knows?
Yeah, guys, and last week, two of the rumours with Kibai and Begovic have came true in the week since we last recorded. Kibai going from PSG to Crystal Palace, and Begovic going from Stoke to Chelsea. What are your thoughts, guys, on they two transfers?
Kibai, fantastic signing for Crystal Palace. Obviously, he's a proven player in the Premier League, and he did fantastically when he was at Newcastle, and I think for Palace to sign a player of that calibre shows that they're serious about getting up the table, and I've said before, with Palace, last 2 seasons they probably should have finished higher, but they were a bit unlucky with managerial situations and poor starts to the season. And I think if they manage to start the season off right this time around, then I think they can get even higher up the table. And then obviously the top teams have been signing a lot of good players, so I doubt they're going to be able to get anything like Europa League spot, but I definitely expect them to get slightly higher than 10th next season. I think the team they've got and the tactics that they play, they get a lot of points, especially towards the end of the season, and Kibai just boosts their chances really of getting up the table, getting some more points and getting more goals.
I think Kibai going there is improving not just the midfield for Palace, it's improving the whole team. The team morale with a player coming in 10 million from a top European club. It's going to boost the team, and it's going to give the Crystal Palace players playing alongside Kibai. It's going to give them a privilege, I think, because he's not been stand out for PSG, but he was certainly a standout for Newcastle a few seasons ago.
Yeah, especially in the Europa League campaign.
Yeah. Begovic to Chelsea.
Oh, can I say something about Kibai?
On you go.
It's intriguing to me that it looks like the mid-table clubs this summer are really doing some wonderful transfers. Definitely improving the middle of the league, like your Crystal Palace, your Stokes, your Villas, your West Hams, maybe your Newcastles. They're improving drastically. And I think it will be even harder now for the promoted clubs and maybe like Sunderland, who struggled last season, to stay up. But yeah, it can only improve the league as a whole, which is only a good thing. It's just I would like to see more English players playing though, but can't get it all.
Yeah. Moving on to Begovic to Chelsea, which was another rumour for us, and Begovic. He's going to go there, and I think what we said last week is going to happen. I think he's going to sit on the sidelines and just kind of not. I think he'll get a game in the cup, or if Courtois lets in if he makes a little mistake, I think Mourinho might give him a little warning by putting Begovic in the next game or something like that. Or maybe he might do what he done with Czech and switch him around, maybe give Begovic a game here and there. But we'll have to wait and see. He is a quality capable.
Mm-hmm.
Begovic from Bosnia, I would say he's like the third best player behind Pjanic and Dzeko. He is a very, very good goalkeeper, and he has proven himself in the Premier League over the past 3 or 4 seasons. Yeah, on you go.
I just want to say, like, I think he's too good of a player just to be sat on the bench. Like, I don't know, he just seems like he should be a starting keeper, really. I don't know. I thought he was one of them players that would be unhappy being sat on the bench, but clearly he's fine with it. I'm just a bit like surprised. I thought he would prefer to stay at Stoke and get first team games instead of go and sit on the bench at Chelsea and play the occasional cup match, really.
Begovic, he's last season, I'll just throw some stats in there. He played 35 games, conceded 43 goals. Courtois played 32 games and conceded 27. Which, for Jose Mourinho, looking at it, obviously Courtois is the better goalkeeper there. He's the best goalkeeper in the Premier League and probably the second best goalkeeper in the world. But I think Begovic, he will be getting his chance. He will get his chance, and he will have to prove to Jose Mourinho why he deserves a first team spot in that Chelsea team. But I can't see it being anytime soon. I'll see. Obviously, it will be in the cup games. Moving on to topics involving English teams. The one thing we have to speak about is yesterday, Leicester have appointed Claudio Ranieri, the ex-Greece, Monaco and Chelsea manager, as their new manager on a 3-year deal.
He's an experienced manager, isn't he? He's been to big teams. Most recently, he's been Greece. He did get sacked November, but at the end of the day, I think he's an experienced manager and a good appointment for Leicester. He's been in the Premier League once before for 3 seasons. He didn't have the brilliant start at Chelsea, but he was actually there the 2 seasons before Abramovich took over, and then the 3rd season Abramovich took over, gave him I think it was 120 million to spend, and he spent all of it. He brought in players like Hernan Crespo and got Chelsea up from 6th place to 2nd. Obviously in that season, I think it was 2003 to 2004 season, Arsenal, that was their unbeaten season, so only beaten by a superior Arsenal team who produced some of the best Premier League performances of all time. So
yeah,
I think, if he, obviously in the past, if he's got the money, he can bring in the right transfers. It's a long time since then. I think perhaps recent years going to Greece, he's not been in that club setting. He hasn't been a manager for 8 months now, so obviously it's a bit disappointing for him, but a good appointment overall because he's experienced, and I think he's what they need to keep him up.
Sorry, Josh.
I have to disagree with you, Tom, completely. I think it's a really poor appointment. It's really poor from Leicester. As Tom talked about his recent sacking in Greece. They lost twice to the Faroe Islands. That's poor. They're Greece, for Christ's sake. They're bottom of their group. They drew 1 game in his tenure. It's not good enough. And as you talked about with Chelsea, managerial stint. This was 10 years ago, and even 11 years actually. 11 years ago. Yes, he was the Monaco manager a couple of seasons back, and he did league, and he won League 2 with them. Sorry, but I think it's a really poor appointment, and it's a lazy appointment from Leicester. I think there's a few candidates out there that were much better. Maybe Sam Allardyce, Martin O'Neill, even ex-Leicester legend coming back. But yeah, I think it's a really poor appointment.
I think you can say that obviously he didn't do very well with Greece, but I think the club setting
is different. It's very much different from Greece. You get a choice of you get like you work with the same player. Well, not the same players, but most of the same players. Maybe 6 times a year, or maybe 7 if you're lucky. But you're working with the same players, the same environment, same setting every single day. You get to build up a great relationship with them. They get to know your tactics better than what Greece would have knew his tactics.
I just can't see it working at all.
Nah, I don't.
Yeah, but other than the
Sorry.
international, like with Greece, he didn't do it brilliantly. But his last, the appointment before that was at Monaco, and he was the one that obviously got them promoted from League 2 to League 1 in the French league, and then he finished with 80 points in the first season in Liga 1. So, I think he got sacked because it wasn't quite the performance they were hoping for. But at the end of the day, I think in the clubs he's been at, he's done relatively well. And I think, he hasn't done brilliantly at some clubs. But
Yeah.
I think
they could have. I was looking for them to appoint Martin O'Neill, because I think to get him out of the Ireland job, because Ireland have dropped down a lot in the rankings recently, and Martin O'Neill needs back into the club setting, because his managerial career is not looking. It's not saying good stuff, even though they're sitting 4th in the qualifying group, but they are behind Scotland, which isn't great. But Claudio Ranieri, we have to see what he does in the first 3 to 4 months of the season. If he isn't doing good, I'm pretty sure Leicester will stamp down their authority and bring in someone better.
The only thing that goes for the appointment of Ranieri is for really experience. He's got a lot of managerial experience, but I just can't see it working.
I think one big thing is he doesn't know the club. Like, he doesn't know the club well enough, because Nigel Pearson knew the club inside out. His son played for them for years, and he managed them for a good few seasons, which helped them. Like, I think it helped them a lot with coming up, not getting relegated, solidifying themselves as a Premier League club. But I think they should have brought in they should have brought in someone that knew the club and knows the board, the backroom staff, all that. I think Ranieri will bring in his own backroom staff, but we'll wait and see. We need to wait and see how the first 3 to 4 months pans out for Claudio Ranieri.
Yeah, Ranieri probably sacked by maybe December, and then Big Salmon. Get Big Salmon.
Yeah, we'll have to wait. It could go either way. It could be bottom for Christmas, or it could be top for Christmas. We'll have to see. On to other topics. We touched on it a little bit earlier. Fabian Delph, Aston Villa accepted an £8 million offer for him. He was in contract talks with Manchester City, and then he just straight out rejected Manu Pellegrini's side, and he's staying loyal to Aston Villa, where he is the captain, and he probably is their best player.
I've heard a couple of rumours about why he rejected Manchester City. I don't think if this is libelous or not, but I'm going to say both of them. So basically, one of the things could have been that he failed a medical.
Ooh.
Or the other, that I've heard quite a bit, that he was 100% sure on Friday. He was like, yeah, I'm going to definitely go. And then he woke up on Saturday, and his head was turned completely, and he just turned him down.
I don't think the second rumour could be true, right? But I think the first one definitely failed his medical. I think that could be a big thing, because
I don't know.
Yes, Mikey.
Normally, if someone fails a medical, the club
will tell. They'll say.
Will announce it.
Yeah, but they've not announced. They've just said Delph has rejected Manchester City's contract offer. That is everything.
But Delph has been in an interview since, and he said that he was relishing the opportunity to, carry out his captaincy at the club. So I think perhaps that. No, I mean that's what
being captain at being captain at Aston Villa or sitting on the bench at Man City. Like, I would rather be the captain at Aston Villa. I know Man City, maybe 60, 70 grand a week. Champions League football, you get to watch it from the bench, which is good. maybe coming on once or twice. I wouldn't like that. I would rather stay at Aston Villa. You guys would probably disagree, but being the captain at Aston Villa, probably maybe being their best player if you guys prefer Benteke, but Delph is just. I think Delph is so underrated.
Well, it would scupper Delph's chances of getting in the England team or England 11 if he did join Manchester City. So in that sense, it's a good move for Delph to just stay at Aston Villa because he'll get first team football, and Villa are a big club.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that apparently he spoke to Mika Richards and Scott Sinclair about joining first. And obviously they joined City and didn't have a good time there. They were only there to make up the numbers in terms of English players. They obviously told him not to make the same mistake, and his career just would have went downhill from there. And he just would have ended up being sold for half the price in a couple of years' time. And I don't know, I think they probably had a big influence on his decision as well.
That's actually because I heard a few weeks ago that because when the rumour was first thrown around that if they couldn't get Pogba they were going to go for Delph. I think he started talking to Scott Sinclair because at that time Mika Richards had no contact with Aston Villa. He was speaking to Scott Sinclair about how Manchester City treat their players, how the training is and all that, and the facilities, which is good to ask about the club that you're maybe going to move to at that time. But I think that Scott Sinclair and Mika Richards' comments have definitely influenced Delph's decision to reject Manchester City.
Yeah, well, obviously they turned their head to Delph once they found out that Pogba was going to be, I think, 71 million, something like that. Which is, obviously they can't go and pay anything near that now after the Sterling transfer. So I think they've now got to either leave it or going to have to think of a last-minute player, which I doubt they'll do. So
I think it's just going to be the same three next season in the midfield, which just doesn't. Moving on to other transfers with Scottish, Spanish, French, and the rest of the world transfers. Scottish transfers this week: Nadir Chifchi from Dundee United to Celtic for 1.5 million. Dale Carrick from Hearts to Kilmarnock on a free transfer after he was released by Heart of Midlothian. Christian Nadi was released from Raith Rovers and he's went to Hamilton Accies. Cole Donaldson, he was released by QPR and he's now moved on to better things at Dundee United. Nadir Chifchi is just he's had 2 really good seasons at Dundee United and he's going to prove himself more at Celtic, and they will probably be in the Champions League, which helps him for his career to move on to bigger things.
Com, as you're a Scotsman, is it a bit typical that a really good player from outside the big club in Scotland, like Celtic, that has done so well in the past 2 seasons, like Shifky, he's gone from Dundee United to Celtic? Isn't it a bit
typical,
isn't it? Because
it's becoming a reoccurring theme, actually. But it's going to happen because Celtic are the best team in Scotland. They are going to be the best team in Scotland for hundred years to come. No one is going to break them down because signing Chifchi, Mackay Stephen and Stuart Armstrong in the past 6 months it's improving them, because they 3 players were probably the best 3 players that weren't at Celtic in the Premier League. And Celtic are getting better. They need to improve in Europe. But it's becoming a reoccurring theme. I think it's just Dundee United players that have moved to Celtic. I don't know Inverness, Aberdeen, because Niall McGinn, who didn't have a very good Celtic career, moved down south and then he's now back at Aberdeen. He's rejuvenising. I think that's the right word. His career.
Yeah, he was really good, wasn't he?
Which is good to see.
The Scottish Player of the Year 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, so I think he won. And then he won the Aberdeen Player of the Year, I think last season or something like that, which is good for him. Now on to the Spanish transfers. We have Casillas and N'Zonzi from Stoke to Sevilla, John Guidetti, who was released by Manchester City in June, has joined Celta Vigo. Yannick Ferreira Carrasco from Monaco, he's went to Atletico Madrid. And last week, Josh mentioned just before we started speaking last week, he mentioned about Arda Turan from Atletico Madrid to Barcelona. So right now we are going to speak about our thoughts on Turan's move to the Spanish Giants.
It's scary again. That goes buying. It's kind of a Celtic in
Spain,
in Spain, really, because obviously Turan, one of the best players,
Rakitic, Vidal,
one of the best players in the Atletico Madrid side last season, and he's just gone to Barcelona to strengthen them even more. But it's such a good signing. I just like Turan. He's just so relaxed, chilled, but on the football field, he's hard and he's such a good player. Technically, he's a class player. Sometimes he gets in a bit of tantrum, but I guess that's what Simeone does to players.
Yeah. Mikey, Tom, do you have anything to speak about Arda Turan?
Like you said, he's a big player from Liga BBVA going to Barcelona. But I think, for any player, whether you're in the BBVA or not, Barcelona is a team you can't turn down. If you're the player and if you're the club, you can't turn down the kind of money that they offer. So I think in terms of that, it's a good signing for Barcelona, keeping the players they know that are proven in the league, getting them into their team. So it's only strengthening them even further. And I think that kind of transfer is just going to allow them to win the BBVA again.
Yeah. I think selling Turan and now bringing in Carrasco, it's different. They're different types of players, but they're both wingers. They're both quick. They can both score. Which Atletico Madrid have got kind of not the same player. They are similar, but they do have their differences. Obviously, Turan's a better player now playing at Barcelona. But yeah, that. Anything else from Spain?
Like I think I said a couple of weeks ago that John Guidetti had a brilliant under-21 Euros Championship performance as a whole, and he got his big move to Celta Vigo. So, congrats to him. Really, he played well in those games, especially against England. But Casillas and N'Zonzi to Sevilla.
Yeah,
that is I didn't expect that at all. Like,
I thought he was going to go to Spurs.
I don't think he's very good, but he might be. It might be his position. That's why I think that. I don't know.
And he didn't want to play for Stoke any longer. So moving on to the French transfers. Stefan El Shaarawy moved from AC Milan to Monaco, and also Gaudio Carrillo moved from Estudiantes to Monaco. El Shaarawy to Monaco, I think they after selling Carrasco, they need a winger. El Shaarawy, perfect replacement. He's probably go anyone. You can't really. It's kind of a stereotype to say anyone that moves to Monaco is for the money, but I think both the Serie A and French leagues are kind of similar in the way it's more not. There's not much pressure on it. They're kind of laid back. They're not as hard leagues as like BBVA but I think moving to Monaco kind of puts pressure on him because they are a big side in France and they are expected to win the title this season. I'm guessing with all the money that they have.
He had a struggle last season at AC Milan with injuries and not really picking up brilliant form, but I think a move is probably good for him. Just new surroundings, new environment, new club, new team, new tactics, new manager, everything new. So I think it will be good for El Shaarawy to, play in a different league, play in a different country, be away from his family and friends, maybe his girlfriend for the time being. So it will bring a good experience, and I'm sure he'll do well at Monaco.
Yeah, all the best to him. Rest of the world transfers now, and Robin van Persie from Manchester United to Fenerbahce. Also Nani, who was probably the best Manchester United player that has ever been, has went from there to Fenerbahce. Pirlo and Gerrard have picked the lifestyle of the American League. they've went over there and they're going to be good to watch, to be honest. And also, Iker Casillas had a very, very emotional farewell to Real Madrid when he went to Porto. Apparently Real Madrid fans booed him off in the last game of the season. I don't know.
Well, 25 years
which isn't
in one club, which is remarkable.
It's just disrespectful, though.
Yeah, but Perez, when he wants a guy out, he will get him out. So
yes, but I wouldn't. I don't know how long the longest player is serving at Hearts, because people just leave every season. But I certainly would not boo someone off the pitch that was 25 years old, like 25 there at the club, like 25 years at the club.
Yeah, but I think the last season,
I think the fans are influenced by the manager, the chairman, their thoughts.
Oh yeah, certainly. But
and also, like, that season there wasn't a good one.
Yeah, the last season it started off really at the World Cup. He was so poor at the World Cup, especially against the Netherlands when they lost 5-1 in the opening game.
Yeah, you can't really blame him, but you can. This considered 4 goals, but you can blame. He's part of the defence. It was the defence's fault. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Sorry.
His dad came out and said that he was like appalled by the way that Casillas had been treated, and there was even a quote from his dad that said he was bullied at Real Madrid because he was short or something, because he wasn't tall. And I just found that like stupid, but it was on the news. It was like real. His dad had actually come out and said that, and he'd said to the press that he wouldn't mind if Casillas joined Barcelona because they'd treat him right. And then he said, what was it? Yeah, it was, I'm not happy he's joining Porto. He's a third tier team for my son. I'd prefer him to join a much better team than Porto. And I was just like, if there's a way to make the Porto fans like Casillas, it's not like that. His dad's coming out and saying, listen, he's got to go play for them.
Thanks, guys, for listening to Switch to Play this week with me, Mikey,
Bye.
Tom, and Josh. Sorry, I forgot your name now. If you would like to leave a comment down below on what team you support and where you think your team will finish this season, and also what transfers would you like to see from your team, be sure to put it down there, and make sure to give us a like, and also go follow on our Twitter. It's Switch to Play YouTube. Thanks, guys. It's a bye from Mikey.
Bye.
It's a bye from Tom.
Goodbye.
It's a bye from Josh.
Goodbye.
And it's a bye from me.